What is the most comforting moment you've shared with your sibling? My younger sister Emma has always been the type to bottle everything up. Growing up, she was shy and sensitive, the kind of kid who cried quietly in her room rather than tell anyone she was upset. I, on the other hand, was loud, messy, and completely incapable of keeping my emotions contained. We were polar opposites, but somehow that made our bond stronger. It was the summer after my first year of college. I had moved back home for the break, and Emma was just finishing her sophomore year of high school. That night, I came home later than usual after hanging out with some friends. The house was dark and quiet, except for the soft hum of the fridge in the kitchen. I noticed Emma sitting on the couch with her laptop open, headphones in, completely still. At first, I thought she was just working on homework, but something felt off. The way she hunched over, her shoulders tight and rigid, made my stomach twist. I walked over and gently touched her shoulder. She flinched but didn't remove her headphones. "Hey, Emma, everything okay?" I asked softly. She took a shaky breath and finally pulled off her headphones. Her eyes were red and glossy, and she looked away as if she was trying to disappear into the couch cushions. "It's nothing," she muttered, but I knew better. I sat down beside her, careful not to crowd her. "It's not nothing. Talk to me," I said. For a long moment, she just shook her head. Then, in a quiet voice, almost too quiet to hear, she admitted it. Her best friend had been moving away, someone she had spent every day with since middle school. She had tried to be strong, tried to smile and say goodbye, but the thought of never seeing her again had crushed her. She hadn't wanted to bother anyone, hadn't wanted to be a burden, so she kept it all inside until now. I didn't say anything right away. I just put my arm around her shoulders and pulled her close. She leaned into me immediately, letting out a small sob that turned into heavier ones. I held her for what felt like forever, not saying a word, just letting her cry. I could feel her trembling, and I whispered her name over and over, letting her know I was there. Eventually, she pulled back a little, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. "Thanks," she said, her voice cracking. "I didn't want to bother anyone." "You're never a bother," I said firmly. "Ever. I don't care what it is. You can tell me anything. I'll always be here." We sat together like that for hours, just talking softly, sharing memories of her and her friend, laughing through tears, and crying through laughs. We reminisced about the first time Emma had met her friend, the silly arguments they had over games, the inside jokes that no one else would ever understand. I don't remember when she finally stopped crying, but when she did, it wasn't because the sadness was gone. It was because she felt safe, because she knew she wasn't alone. That night, after our conversation, she went to bed with a small, genuine smile on her face. I stayed up a little longer, thinking about how fragile these moments were, how much it meant that she trusted me enough to finally let it out. I realized that comfort isn't always about solving someone's problems or giving advice. Sometimes, it's just about being there, about letting someone know they aren't facing the world alone. Years later, I still remember that night vividly. Emma and I talk about it sometimes, usually in the middle of a quiet evening when we're both home, and she says it was the moment she realized she could always come to me. And I realized that my role as her older brother wasn't just to protect her, it was to let her lean on me, to give her a safe space when the world felt overwhelming. Even now, when life gets messy or stressful, I think back to that night and how we just sat together on the couch, the quiet hum of the refrigerator filling the room, her head on my shoulder, and the weight of the world eased just a little by being together. That small, quiet, unremarkable evening was one of the most comforting and meaningful moments of my life. Not because anything extraordinary happened, but because it reminded me that the simplest acts, listening, holding someone, being present, can be the most powerful. I'll never forget that night with Emma. It was just a couch, a living room, and the two of us, but it was enough.